guys, it's Sarah Hosea with Happily Hosea, and I'm by myself today. It feels so weird, like, filming without my husband, but I just have to get this video out. I have to do it. I keep making excuses like, I'll do it tomorrow, and then it's never happened. So, like, I'm here, I'm making this video because I just feel like there's someone in the world that has Total Placenta Previa that needs to hear it. So, that brings me to what our video is about. I am talking about the condition I had when I had Cello, why she was born at 30 weeks gestation age, why she came so early, all about it. Disclaimer, this video is not about the night Cello was born. Hold on, she's crying. Okay. So this is not about the night Cello was born. One, because I want to make that a separate video. Two, mainly because I want my husband to be in it, because we both have like really different perspectives and memories of what happened that night. So we're going to do a whole big shebang for that video. But for this video, I want to talk about the condition that I had. Holy heck. Another disclaimer. I am not a doctor. I repeat, I am not a doctor. If you have this condition, do not fully take my word. Talk to your doctor, preferably a high-risk one, and always go through your doctor. This is just my personal experience having placenta previa and kind of about my pregnancy, what symptoms I had, how it affected my birth with Cella, and hopefully if you have it, you can feel more comfortable that everything turned out okay. Or two, if you don't have it, and like you can just become more educated about it if you get it in the future, if your friend or something has it, just all those kinds of things. So let's start from when I found out I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant when I was just, oh my gosh, there's a cat on my porch, it's scaring me so bad. I found out I was pregnant at just 3 weeks pregnant, which is like really early to find out you're pregnant. The only symptom I had was I was extremely tired. So I would like seriously sleep until 1 and still feel tired. And I would like go to work in the afternoon and then like feel exhausted. So I went in for the first time to the doctor at 8 weeks. They didn't want to see me until 8 weeks. So went into my 8-week appointment. We got an ultrasound. If I can insert your picture or video, I will here.
It's kicking its feet.
Little hands.
And the hands too.
But we went and got an ultrasound. Everything was fine. Everything was great. The baby had a great, strong heartbeat. All of my blood work was normal. Everything was totally normal. So then we went back in at 12 weeks, and this is when we got the blood test. So since I'm adopted and it's our first child, we wanted to do like the full blood test for all the chromosome disorders, all of that, and our insurance covered it, so we decided to do that. So in that test, as you know, they check for the gender. I was so excited, we were all about it, so we found out the gender early. You can do this as early as 9 weeks, but I was about 12 when we did it. So we did that, we had our gender reveal. I found out I was having a girl. And then I went back at 18 weeks to have a in-depth scan. So this is the normal scan that they would do anywhere between like 18 to 22 weeks to tell you the gender, but we already knew the gender from the blood test, so we were just wanting a confirmation. They were going to do an in-depth ultrasound, all of that stuff. So we go into the in-depth scan and everything looks fine to us, like the baby's there, she has a great heartbeat. And then when we went to talk to my doctor, like not the ultrasound tech, she was like, did they tell you about your placenta? And I said, no, like I don't even know what a freaking placenta is. And they were like, okay, it looks like you have Total Placenta Previa right now. So I'm like, obviously, what is that? So she explained to me that it's no big deal. Lots of people get it and that my placenta will probably move. But my placenta was covering my cervix. She said, I'm going to review the scan and then email you later. And I said, okay, sounds good. So later I like log onto my online chart because it said that I had an email from my doctor. She emailed me saying that this was a little bit different than she thought, that I have like a really low, like 0.1% chance of my placenta moving, she thought. Because my placenta, so let's say this is your cervix, my placenta was overlapping it, like it was enclosed my cervix was enclosed in my placenta. So for like your basic knowledge of the body, here's like a stomach, your cervix, the placenta is supposed to be up here. So lots of people's placenta is like low lying, or that you can have partial or marginal placenta previa, but in this case she said I had total placenta previa and she didn't think that it was gonna move. And she told me that I basically was on self-diagnosed bed rest, which means I'm on bed rest, but it's not hospital bed rest. She told me I absolutely cannot lift anything. The only thing I can really do is like light walking, because when the placenta is over the cervix, it makes your cervix weak, so anything can send you into labor. So she said the main thing you want to watch for is spotting or bleeding. Normally in a pregnancy you can spot and it will be totally fine, but in my case that's an ER visit, she said. So the whole time I was like, okay, like I'll have spotting, I'll definitely know something's wrong. So went on throughout my pregnancy, and the other thing she told me was, now we don't want to do another scan until 32 weeks. Normally you have 1 or 2 scans in between then, she said, but she did not want to do any further ultrasounds because she was too afraid to press on my cervix, that it would be too invasive and like send me into labor. So keep in mind, this is my first kid. I don't know what any of this means, like I'm just along for the ride. So all I knew is she told me, she said, if you can make it to 32 weeks pregnant with placenta previa, that's great. So knowing me, like now I would say like, wow, that's still pretty early to have a baby, but like then I was like, okay, yeah, it's fine. So the hardest thing about it was I felt great. I was not throwing up. I did not like get nauseous, but I was on bed rest. So it was kind of like this game of like, do I go to this or do I stay home like the doctor said? Because with placenta previa, there's not really like much that people know about it because it affects everyone so differently. So what did I do? I logged onto YouTube and I typed in placenta previa and I looked all over Google and there was literally nothing about it. I found one video on YouTube and it said like, the girl was talking and she said, I had partial placenta previa. I didn't have total, that would be like really bad. And I remember thinking like, wait, that's what I have. Like, what do you mean that's really bad? So basically I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that I needed to be really, really careful. So, come like, I have regular doctor's appointments but no scans, everything seems fine. She asked me if I've had any blood. I say no, I'm not bleeding at all. And she said, great, this is going to be great. We'll see you back at 32 weeks. Come 30 weeks, my husband and I decided to go to a movie. We hadn't really done anything the whole time I was pregnant because I was supposed to be on bed rest. So we decided to go to a movie. We had not been eating fast food, and randomly that day his siblings were sleeping over and we decided to like grab them some Taco Bell, so we had some too, and I felt really sick after. I was like really crampy, I was really like, felt like the flu, like I was gonna throw up, which I had not had those symptoms my whole pregnancy, so I correlated it straight to the Taco Bell. So at the Taco Bell, we go to the movie. I feel sick the whole time, but I'm like, I'm fine. I come home and I tell my husband, like, I genuinely feel really sick. And I brushed my teeth, and that's when I threw up. And I hadn't thrown up my whole pregnancy, only one other time when I brushed my teeth. So I was like, oh, maybe it's because I brushed my teeth again. Like, that's a common thing that happens in pregnancy. You, like, throw up when you brush your teeth. So then I took a bath because I was having these like really bad cramps, but again, that's totally normal and I've never had a child before, so I like took a bath. I went to bed around midnight and I told my husband, I remember saying to him like, I think I'm having contractions, also really normal, I was 30 weeks pregnant, and he's like, oh, and I was like, oh, and I fell asleep. So at 2:30 in the morning, I remember waking up. I don't remember why, I just woke up. And I thought my water broke. I don't know why I stood up. That's what I was trying to think of. Why did I stand up? To the bathroom, something like that. And I felt like my water broke. And I was like, and I turned on the light and it was straight blood, like full on coming out of the bottom of my sweatpants, blood, like a lot of blood. And like I didn't even like yell or anything. I was like, Charles, and he woke up straight away. It was like a blessing he knew. I said, I'm in labor. I think I said, I'm in labor, I'm having the baby, or we need to go to the ER or something. He jumped up, he like wrapped me in a towel, and as we were leaving, my like brother-in-laws were sleeping on our couch. I'm like, can you call your mom? But anyways, so long story short, I'm not going to tell the birth story, but basically I had 0 spotting until I full-blown hemorrhage. So with placenta previa, knowing this, I would have been so much more careful my whole pregnancy, because now I know that even with placenta previa, you might not have spotting, you might just go into labor. And so they took me to the hospital and they were like, when's the last scan you had? And I said 18 weeks, and they were like, why? Like, your doctor didn't give you like steroids, like nothing? And I was like, no, I haven't had any symptoms. And granted, I was not going to a high-risk doctor at the time. Moving forward, I will always be high risk because I hemorrhaged. Anyways, oh, disclaimer, the only thing backtrack, the only thing that I knew is that I had to be C-section, and she told me, you must go to this hospital and you must tell them under no circumstances can you have a natural birth. You have to have a C-section, because when the placenta is covering your cervix, you will not birth the baby, you will just bleed out. So basically I said, so that's where it can get really dangerous, is if you were to like just try to push out the baby, you would like literally die, because you would never give birth. So I got there and I was like, I have to be C-section, and they were like, well, let's see if your placenta's moved, even though I'm full-blown hemorrhaging. I'm like, okay. So they check it and they were like, oh, you weren't kidding. Yeah, you definitely have to have a C-section. You definitely have placenta previa. So the doctors basically told me it was like the worst case of it that they've seen, other than like medical school. Like after I gave birth, medical students literally came and like interviewed me because my condition was so like extreme. But besides the point, it's all I know, is the only baby I've had so far, and it turned out fine. For placenta previa, here's what I say: when your doctor tells you to go on bed rest, freaking go on bed rest. Like, do not move. It sucks, but like also the risks. We lucked out and Sella was totally healthy at 30 weeks. Lungs worked, everything. That is rare. Like, they told me 30 is the magic cutoff number where they can guarantee that they can probably get the baby to live. Anytime before that, they still can, but like there's just so many more problems that can come. And as a mom, when you are put in that position, like I really felt like it was my fault. Like, oh my gosh, like my body failed my child, like it's my fault if she has problems. I got over that. I was able to get over that and recognize it was not my fault. But that's just a whole emotional game that you play with yourself. So my advice is to listen to your doctor and go on bed rest. I did go on bed rest, but I could have been more careful. I would not have lifted literally anything. I probably would not even, I walked on a treadmill a few times. It would literally not do that. I had no spotting. I did not throw up. I had no spotting. I had nothing weird until I woke up and hemorrhaged. Just some other key points I want to hit, that if you have it and you're diagnosed, like honestly, if I got diagnosed, I feel like it was fine the first time because I didn't know what to expect. Going through what I went through, if I get diagnosed again my next pregnancy, I'm probably going to be a little bit more nervous. But my advice to you, if you get diagnosed with total placenta previa, marginal, partial, low-lying, any type of placenta previa, don't worry, you will be okay. If you have the means to switch to a high-risk doctor, that's the number one thing that I would say, is have a high-risk doctor. Also, like, just try to stay calm, because the calmer you are, the less stress you're in, the less that you can send yourself into labor, because everyone knows stress-induced labor is a real thing. But my thing I want to tell you is that I will be okay. And the medical field is so advanced, and I if they're not advanced, they will get you to a place that can treat you. I was talking to like the ICU unit, and they said we don't mess around with placenta previa. You're in the best care. If you weren't, we would literally life flight you to somewhere where they were the best care. But in our case, the hospital I was at, people were being life flighted for the same condition I had from like Nevada, from Idaho, like all around. And I'm really grateful that my husband's insurance covered that hospital, because I was able to get the best care possible for a preemie baby and for the condition that I had. Their research center is like amazing. But besides the point, if you have the means to see a high-risk doctor, do not play around with these symptoms. Like if you have bleeding, go to the ER. It's not worth risking it. The hemorrhaging in my house was probably one of the scariest things that's ever happened to me, because also like you don't realize how much blood that you can lose and still be okay. Like my poor husband thought that I was dying. Like so much blood. Just stay calm. Like you can lose a lot of blood before it's dangerous, and you'll feel it. I literally got to a point where I was so sick that from the blood loss. But besides the point, I have found an amazing placenta previa community on Instagram just by using the hashtag placenta previa. That's kind of why I started getting like back into Instagramming and stuff after I quit my blog, is because I went through this huge thing and I wanted to find this community of women, and I was getting so many messages, and it started to freak me and my husband out because we were getting messages like, I have placenta previa, I've been spotting for 2 weeks, like it's more than a period, should I go to the ER? I'm like, I'm not a doctor, go to the doctor. But besides the point, and there's a lot of women on my Instagram that have placenta previa and a great community for NICU babies and all that, and I just want to raise awareness of that, because it truly is a whole different world. And we got really, really lucky with our daughter, but we saw a lot of people that didn't get as lucky. And so anyways, if you have placenta previa, if you know someone who has placenta previa, tag them in this video. I feel like it kind of low-key sucked, this video did. But tag them and add me on Instagram and message me, and we can talk, because even if you're on bed rest for that long, it's just this huge like event that you go through. And it's just really emotional, and it can be scary, and there's a lot of pressure on you as a mom. So just know it's gonna be okay, and I'm totally an advocate for like this group of people who have placenta previa to like come together, because you hear a lot of people who have like preeclampsia or other like really high risk terms, but I had never heard of placenta previa. My doctor, who is an amazing doctor, didn't even know a lot about it. So again, I had total placenta previa, like worst case scenario, but I would love to talk to you if you have partial, marginal, low lying, or if you have any questions about my experience. Again, I'm not a doctor, but best wishes to you. Congrats if you're pregnant with a new baby. It is the biggest blessing, and no matter what you go through, it is so worth it. And I hope this video educates you a little bit more on why I had Stella so early. So many people were like, what the freak, why'd you go into labor at 30 weeks? So that's why. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, tag your friends, share it with anyone that's pregnant or has placenta previa. And yeah, thanks for watching.